You'll hear later this week, or maybe tomorrow, I'm not sure when Miguel presents, this evening. You'll hear soon about Camping at the Presidio, a relatively new program that provides a first-time camping experience for urban kids. It's been going a few years now in the Presidio, and very shortly we will have a brand new, fully renovated campground providing a variety of amenities, educational and camping opportunities in the Presidio of San Francisco. And then, of course, we work on large-scale restoration projects, really helping improve key park resources, watersheds, and public spaces. With the overall goal, a goal that we all share, preserving these places not only for their enjoyment today, but for future generations. Here at Fort Baker, we have an example of how work is done often at the Golden Gate National Parks through collaborative partnerships. When this military post was transferred to the National Park Service about 15 years ago, it wasn't really in terribly good shape. This building here, there were a number of holes in the roof, there were skunks living under the floor, it had been an old Army gym and it looked that way. But the entire campus needed not only to be re-envisioned for its new purpose, but the resources had to be put in place to achieve that vision. And we began a 10-year dream. Along the way, sometimes it was a nightmare, to revitalize this place and accomplish the public support and the resources needed to create this amazing transfer from military defense to environmental defense here at Fort Baker. There were many stages of planning and public involvement, of course a lot of environmental cleanup, raising the funds, creating the design, and eventually opening up the doors. The construction work began in about 2006. The retreat center opened a little over a year ago, and the Conservancy with the Park Service manages Institute of the Golden Gate, providing environmental programming here at this site and hosting groups like yours that are working in the area of conservation in the outdoors. The partnership here involves 3 entities, a private entity, the Fort Baker Retreat Group, which provided about $100 million of financing for the restoration of the site. The National Park Service, which brought about $25 million in public funds, and the Conservancy, which contributed the balance of funding along with the Bay Area Discovery Museum, a park partner along the waterfront here. And these buildings, as beautiful as they are today, I wish I could take you back to what they looked like just 3 years ago now, maybe even 2. 46 historic buildings needed to be completely gutted, without sound foundations, with a lot of environmental cleanup, lead paint issues, and a high requirement for historic preservation that the National Park Service appropriately set in the overall design and reuse. With the new buildings, there was a requirement, of course, for green design. The entire campus was required to, as much as it can, achieve LEED standards, and the whole campus is in now for LEED certification, which it should receive shortly. And now it's open. Some of you, how many are in the historic rooms? And modern rooms, the balance. So it looks like a pretty good split. You should change rooms midway if you're here for 2 nights. So you can see both, but there's the historic room for those of you who are in the more modern buildings. These beautiful turn-of-the-century buildings brought back to new life. With the modern buildings, there is solar on the roof. They're energy-efficient buildings. They produce about 75% of their energy requirement. The plant palette around the modern buildings are about 50,000 native plants grown in our native plant nurseries, and the campus now has received the Governor's Award for Environment and Economy and the National Trust for Historic Preservation National Award. So there's the, that couch is not in the outdoors. That couch actually is in one of the modern rooms. So those of you in the historic rooms can see that. And as I said, we really have gone from this military to environmental defense change. This was the opening day. You can see Brian O'Neill right there next to Speaker Nancy Pelosi. We have in this park these incredibly talented singing rangers. They are just amazing. which wowed people at every occasion. It was a grand ribbon cutting with our local schools participating, and the amazing moment of reopening this site now as a place for everyone as a national park. Within the site, the Institute for the Golden Gate follows these themes: connect, inspire, collaborate, and act on behalf of global sustainability. So we have meeting rooms and lodge rooms at a discounted rate to hold many convenings like this during the course of the year. What? Interesting. So the reason this idea had merit to us is we are in a national park, we're within an international biosphere reserve, we have green buildings, we have the Bay Area's stellar environmental leadership to draw upon, and we have a slideshow that's finished. Go Derrick. Yeah, just click on one of them and I'll there we go. You're right there. Thank you. Thanks. So we felt that this setting really spoke to the purpose that the Institute has. And you can see some of the organizations that have taken advantage of this location. Often we're working with them to plan their program and sometimes co-conceiving and delivering a program along with them. We have an active lecture series. This one with Conservation International is underway right now, highlighting eco-innovators, not only here in the Bay Area, but around the country and around the world, conveying their work, their ambitions, and their successes. Once a year we sponsor a major conference, and I'll put in a bit of a plug for this since we're coming up on a date called Turning the Tide, Changing the Course for Our Earth. This conference really brings environmental leaders from around the country and the world, key environmental innovators, to look at important environmental issues and how we can move passion into action with our work. This was our convening last April, the first Turning the Tide, with Goldman Prize winner Judy Bonds, who has fought mountaintop removal in the East Coast, Amory Lovins of the Rocky Mountain Institute, Majora Carter of Sustainable South Bronx, Alex Lors of Kids Against Global Warming. He got rejected from Al Gore's group because he was too young, and he started his own Kids Against Global Warming as a result. And Silas Rao, who developed the solar cooker to preserve the national parks in India, where deforestation was a huge problem because people were cutting trees for fuel. And the solar cooker, he really took to scale to protect outdoor landscapes in India. So those are the type of people that we bring together with the concept that the National Park Service has a leadership role not only within the national parks that it cares for, but on a bigger stage, on a national stage and international stage in terms of environmental action. So for Partner Outdoors, I think the purpose is similar: to connect, to collaborate, to inspire, and act. That's probably why we are all here today and here this week. To learn from one another, to be inspired by others, and to leave here with action plans about the outdoors and what role we can take in partnership with others to conserve and improve them.